Hey everybody, it's Ellen Lewis, and this is one of my most favorite kind of videos to do. And this is where I take a look back at the sweaters that I knit this year. It's not that I knit a ton of sweaters, but I just feel like it's so important to sort of validate what we've done. We tend to um, kind of look at things harshly or judge ourselves harshly. So it's always sort of validating for me to look back and say, yeah, I did get kind of a lot of stuff done this year. And that feels really good. So I wanted to share with you the sweaters that I did this year and some of the changes that I made, my thoughts on them, and just the yarns that I used and whether I would knit them again. So I thought this would be fun, kind of fun for us. So let's get started. All right. So the first one that I finished this year, I actually started last year, but I finished it pretty recently. So I'm going to go with this one first because I started it first. And this is my second Petite Knits Terrazzo sweater. So this is the one that I did in the traditional or the colorway that's shown in the pattern. This is color S1 of the Noro Silk Garden sock solo. And it has this beautiful sort of, I don't know, dreamy pastel color. It's really, really kind of magical. And I held it with a strand of white Kidsilk Haze. I think it was white. It might have been cream. It doesn't matter. They're both so close, it's almost impossible to tell the difference. But I made some changes with this one that I wanted to share with you. And the first one is that I cropped it. So I made this much shorter than I normally do my sweaters. So this one's pretty cropped. And I also changed the way I did the bottom. So it calls for a twist, a 1x1 twisted rib. And I'm not a super big fan of that twisted rib. So I didn't do any twisted rib on the cuff or on the neckline. And here at the hem, what I did was I did a 4-1 rib, and then I worked some rounds of reverse stockinette, and I just bound off. So you can see that it's a little bit shorter than it might be for someone my height. Anyway, it hits me right at the waist, at the top of my high-waisted jeans, and I love it. The other thing that I did differently is after trying on one of the sweaters from the Noro trunk show, Ruby Rose, I think it was, it had this split turtleneck and I loved it. So I love this split turtleneck. And what I did was when I picked up for the neckline, instead of joining it in the round, I just worked it flat back and forth and I left this front section open. So now it can open and close any way you like. I think it's really cute and it makes it comfortable. And if you are one of those people that has, you don't like things up around your neck, this is a really nice compromise. So anyway, I'm excited. I haven't even worn this. I think I'm going to wear it tonight. It's New Year's Eve. So I think I'm going to wear this tonight. I bought a kind of a white skirt. So super fun. So that is the Petite Knits Terrazzo sweater. The next one is by Cocoknits, and you know that I love a Cocoknit sweater. This is the Emma B, which is the one that has a boat neck. And of course, I had to change this too. I worked it with a yarn that's now discontinued, Noro Viola, but I love this colorway. Any worsted weight Noro would work for this. Again, I carried it with a strand of Kidsilk Haze. In this case, it was a real pale pink. So it gives it kind of an overall fuzzy sort of feel. And I like it. I like it a lot. I didn't do anything around the neck. Part of the beauty of Cocoknits designs are that they're very clean and modern. There's not a lot of pickup around or a lot of fussy detailing anywhere. I cropped it and I opened it up at the side. So you can see here, as soon as I had separated for the sleeve, I worked just a couple rounds and then I worked back and forth with 2 garter stitches, and I did the front a little bit shorter than the back. So you can see that it's a little different, and I love that it's open at the side there. So it's just a little bit of a modern take on that. Yeah, so that was really fun. This is a great design. And I love holding two yarns together, especially if one of them is a lace weight mohair. So this next one is Luna, the Luna sweater by Mode Designs. I actually did a little knit along on this. This is worked in Rowan Four Seasons cotton. It was originally designed to be worked in Rowan felted tweed Aran, but this is the same gauge, and I wanted kind of a fall sweater. I will tell you, it's worked in garter stitch. It's really heavy, and I was thinking, well, maybe it's because it's cotton, but the felted tweed Aran has the same number of yards per gram. So it's just a heavy sweater. I mean, it's pretty weighty. I did it exactly as the pattern directed. No, I didn't. I changed the bottom. So instead of doing a ribbing at the bottom, I just did a garter stitch on a tighter needle. So this is garter stitch all the way, and then the sleeves are a 2-2 rib stockinette, and then at the top they have this bit of garter stitch. So it's a drop shouldered sweater. Very cozy. I was a little irritated because the pattern is completely wrong. The neckline, the pattern tells you to pick up, increase, and work in 2-2 rib, but the picture is definitely like this. So that was a little irritating. I also didn't work a whole long cowl for the neckline because it was already really heavy, and I just didn't. So I probably wouldn't knit this again, but it's nice for the fall when it's starting to get chilly, but whatever. Anyway, I'm glad I did this, and I'm looking forward to wearing it. Now, in between those sweaters, I did a little sweater for my daughter. I can't show it to you because I gave it to her baby. I did the baby Vertebrae for my new grandbaby Zoe, and I did that with one skein of our Tea Time Fibers Earl Grey yarn in a very pretty soft yellow colorway. The next one that I did, and I actually did this while I was out there with the baby and my daughter and her husband, is Lizzie by Cocoknits. This is a great sweater. Again, this is in that same book that the Emma B is in, the Cocoknits Workshop book. This is a beautiful yarn, a beautiful sweater that is knit at a worsted gauge, and it calls for maybe a lighter yarn, like a sport weight or whatever. I did this with Rowan Creative Linen, kind of at gauge. So the gauge that the sweater is worked at is 20 stitches, and Creative Linen's native gauge is like 21. So it's a little less kind of airy and drapey than a lot of the pictures, but I'm super happy with it. It's a top down, and it has this wonderful kind of increasing edge. So you continually increase as you go, which gives it kind of a crossover drapey kind of feel. And again, very little finishing. There's no pickup or border or anything at the bottom. It has a very clever construction for the back neck, where you do this provisional cast on, like a Judy's Magic cast on, like you would do for a sock. And it gives you a completely invisible join at the back neck, which I think is so clever. I always learn something when I knit a sweater by Julie Weisenberger. She's so clever and has so many great kind of dressmaking details. So I love that very much. I did this with a 3/4 sleeve. Otherwise, I followed the pattern exactly. So this is fun. This is a great little summer thing to throw over a tank top, or a cami or whatever, a little dress. So very fun. The next one I did, this was a design that we came up with, or Ginny Stein, who's on the team at Crazy for You, came up with. This is a little tank. It's called the Susan Shell. And she designed this because her daughter-in-law, Susan, sent her a picture of a top that she really liked and said, hey, I want to knit something like this. Can you find me a pattern? And we couldn't find something exactly, so we sort of figured it out. And Ginny did all of the math on this, and we actually worked through it in Club Crazy for You, which was really, really kind of a fun way to figure out all of the ins and outs of this neckline that comes in. And one of my issues with a lot of sweaters, and it has really more to do with the sizing that is shown in the Craft Yarn Council of America sizing standards. Everything gets larger as the bust line gets larger. Everything in their standards gets larger, including your shoulder width. And I have a real issue with that, and I've talked about it a lot in the blog. Just because you have more tissue, or you're heavier or have a larger bust, it doesn't mean that you have a wider shoulder. You have the same kind of bone structure. You just maybe need a larger sleeve cap. So in this pattern, the shoulder width doesn't change dramatically with the bust line, which makes it a really, really nice fit. I cut mine in a little bit more than the pattern because that's what I like. And this is worked in Illimani Sabri 2, which is a beautiful chainette cotton alpaca blend by Illimani. Love this yarn. It's so nice to wear. It's wonderful to work with, very bouncy. This is just a kind of a standard length. And then around the edges is just a couple rows of reverse stockinette, which makes it a really clean little wardrobe basic. I would knit several of these. In fact, I have this on my plan to knit again in the spring. So this one's really fun. And the next one is the one that I am wearing, which is the Ludham sweater from the new Mode at Rowan line. It's worked in the yarn Softest Alpaca. Oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how soft and gorgeous this yarn is. It's really a beautiful fabric. The pattern is a simple drop-shouldered sweater. So you can see that it's just, it's really nothing but a great big rectangle with shaped shoulders. The sleeve looks to be a little bit of a bell, but again, it's simply that there's no shaping in the sleeve. So it comes down straight. I love this one. It's so wonderful to wear. As far as changes, I didn't make any changes to the sleeve. The only change that I made was instead of binding off the neckline at the top, I did a turned neckline. So it called for it to be 6 centimeters and then bind off. What I did was I worked 12 centimeters and then I folded that extra length to the inside and just stitched it to give it a turned hem. I love the way this edge looks. It's not a turned hem, it's a turned neck. It's like a turned hem. It's what you would do if you were doing it from the bottom up. But anyway, I love the feel of this. I love everything about this. I love the fit. It's a nice, easy fit. It's probably got 4 to 6 inches of positive ease in it. And it just feels so, so luxurious. Crazy about this. Can't say enough nice things about the pattern or the yarn. It's just beautiful. And the last one, and I just finished this a couple days ago. I haven't even put the buttons on, so I think that still counts as being finished, don't you? This is Smock by Martin Story, and this is worked in their new yarn, Pure Alpaca. It is dreamy, just a beautiful, dreamy yarn. It's for an alpaca. It's a very bouncy yarn. It's got a nice, tight twist that gives it a little more structure and bounce. It's a cardigan, and it has a tapered body. So it's one of those where you increase from after the ribbing all the way up to the armhole. And so you get a little bit of this shaping here. And it's a raglan. It's a seamed raglan worked from the bottom up. And I love how clever this was. This has the most beautiful and clever raglan line. It just works so wonderfully. And I think that's a testament to Martin Story's design skills. It's just beautiful. And then at the front, it has this turned placket. So it's not a pickup, it's worked right along with the sweater. And then you seam it to the inside when it's done. So on both sides, you have stockinette, and then you have this little bit of ribbing in the center, and then you fold that to the inside for this beautiful and elegant placket. I think that is so pretty and such a, I don't know, such a classic ladylike little touch. I think I'm going to put a little tiny shank button, maybe a little gold button on there, because the buttonholes are small and I don't want to take away from that. I just want a tiny little gold button on there. But anyway, very pretty, wonderful to work with, and I am so happy to have finished that, and I can't wait to get buttons on it to wear it. So there it is, 8 sweaters for me and a baby sweater for my daughter's new little girl. And it's been really fun, and I appreciate you watching. If you're not already a subscriber, I would love to have you subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave me a comment and tell me what you knit this year, because I would love to hear. And look for my next video where I share with you what I plan to knit in 2025. Until then, keep knitting and create something beautiful.